Hello, welcome to another edition of Kitchen Closed, and I am not just Dan Nicholl, I'm a terrified Dan Nicholl. I have not slept now for 6 nights because 7 days ago I got a phone call because my cousin lives next door to a guy whose niece went to school with somebody who's on the WhatsApp group of the PR agent who knows the management team who work with the global representatives of Luke Dale Roberts. And they said, you know what, we've got Luke in the kitchen and you can cook with Luke Dale Roberts. Now, if you're a sports person, this is like playing a pro-am with Tiger Woods. This is getting given the chance to play fly half outside of Pfaff de Klerk. This is the biggest moment of my culinary career because here am I, enthusiastic amateur chef with a history of burning Greek salads, about to cook with somebody who has the only African restaurant consistently in the world's top 50. Should be the world's top 10, but that's just my opinion. And so I am, with great excitement and an equal amount of terror, ready to plunge into today's episode. And I'll start by saying hello, Luke Dale Roberts.
Hello, Dan. How are you?
I'm really, really good. And I first have to assure everybody, yes, there's a mask on. No, that's not my cousin Basil pretending to be Luke Dale Roberts. That is Luke. And there's a reason you got the mask on, Luke, because although your restaurants, there we go, it is Luke Dale Roberts. Although the restaurants aren't open per se, you are doing a little bit of work. And at the moment, you are back in one of your kitchens.
That's right, Dan. We're in the test kitchen at the moment. We started making hampers. We got different hampers that we're doing, kind of like gourmet delights, very French and European-driven food. Kind of luxurious comfort food, I think I would call it. And what we did is we started at a Mother's Day and had a few orders, and then it's been ticking over nicely. And then we're actually going to start an online deli next week where you can build your own little box. So all sorts of goodies.
My big question before we start with today's meal, are you sending this to Johannesburg, Luke?
I am, most definitely. We're going to be... I think we're starting on Friday, actually, with Johannesburg delivery. So we've got polystyrene boxes and ice packs, and we've got this amazing supplier called Blake's that they ship up to Joburg, and they can manage the food chain nicely. They're going to be shipping our hampers and delivering them in Johannesburg. And so we're trying to grow something, you know. I've got a small team on, and I'm rotating the rest of the team. So everyone gets 7 days a month. They can work a straight week. And so we can minimize contact with other people, if you know what I mean. So you know that team is dedicated to that week, and then they're not there for the following 2 or 3 weeks after that. So I'm basically trying to keep my guys busy, employed and paid, you know.
Good for you. It's an enormous challenge throughout the industry, but particularly for somebody like you who's got this smorgasbord of restaurants dotted all over the Cape. Restaurants we can't wait to get back to as and when we're allowed to. Until we can, the next best thing we do is either order your luxury hampers, and I'm off to get mine as soon as I've finished recording, or try and replicate some of the magic of Luke Dale Roberts. Now, that's going to be a little bit of a challenge if we're doing your normal selection of test kitchen menus, but today you've got something a little simpler that you reckon, Luke, even I should be able to make. Exactly
right. We're doing a nice beef Wellington, so pan-seared fillet of beef wrapped in mushroom duxelle. And then on top of that, you've got a little bit of pancetta, and then a beautiful puff pastry around that, baked in the oven for 12 to 18 minutes, served with a nice sauce.
We've got some stuff already done. You and I have been chatting this morning, and to make sure things go nice and quickly. So I've got my fillet already seared, and it's ready to come out. So the actual cooking starts with the mushroom duxelle. Talk me through it, Chef.
Exactly right. So mushroom duxelle, classic French, sautéed onions or shallots, a little bit of herbs and garlic in there. Add your mushrooms when your onions are soft. Saute them down, deglaze with a little bit of brandy and white wine. Reduce, add a little bit of cream, and then just reduce the whole thing so it becomes this nice homogenized, like delicious, unctuous mass of yumminess.
That sounds perfect, and the description is just absolutely spot on. So let's get some sumptuous yumminess going. I've got a little pan going. You can see the copper on it. This was a wedding present from my darling wife, Dimitra, which I am putting to, so an anniversary present. So I'm putting it to good use. Would that be your shallots and garlic?
That's my shallots and garlic, beautifully diced by the dainty hands of Carla Schultz.
Do I need to warm up my pan before I put my onions and shallots in?
Yeah, get your pan warm, but not too hot. You don't want the butter to burn when it goes in there.
All right.
So you got your butter. That goes in your pan. Gonna let that melt down a little bit. Then you got your onions and garlic mix.
Perfect.
Put that in. When you sweat your shallots, we call it sweating. It's when you fry something without colour. You always add salt at that point because that is what I call the flavour building point in a recipe, where you're drawing flavour out of your ingredients. So you need the salt to draw the flavour out.
There we go.
A little bit of pepper in there as well. Right, next up you got your mushrooms. We've used shiitake and button. You can use wild mushrooms. You can use any kind of mushroom at this point. So as a kind of quantity, I would say I've got 6 times the volume of mushrooms to onions. They go in the pan. Next up, just going to give that a little stir. Just turn your heat up a little bit now on the pan so you can get a little bit of colour on the mushrooms. Okay, I've got some fresh herbs that I'm going to put in there. A little bit of thyme, a little bit of rosemary.
All right, I think I have the same.
Then here, you can get creative. You can put tarragon in there. Tarragon and mushrooms is a marriage made in heaven.
I'm going for some fresh thyme here, chef.
Beautiful. Get it in there. You're putting lots of love into it as well, Dan.
My passion and enthusiasm compensates for my skill.
Oh, there you go, eh? Right, there's my onions. A little bit of colour, nice and golden, nice and fragrant. Do yours look the same?
They do indeed. They've got, beautiful bit of, as Pete Goffwood would say, a little bit of caramelising to them.
Caramelisation, exactly. Good word. Right, next up I've got a little bit of brandy and some white wine. I'm going to throw that in there.
Oh, okay. My onions are definitely done. Can I switch them off?
Yeah. Just leave the fire on a little bit, and then you're just going to put a shot of brandy in there. So you're going to reduce out all the liquor. All the alcohol is going to come off that, and you're going to reduce it down to this almost dry.
So you're forcing me, chef, to open a cherished bottle of 2002 Takara brandy, because it's the only brandy in the...
Well, that can't be a bad thing, eh? Just give it a test before you start. From the bottle.
Oh, beautiful.
Nice. Right, so your brandy should be reducing down.
Okay.
Almost dry. Then you got your cream. Okay, let's put the cream in.
Just a little splash of cream.
Yeah, just a splash. You don't want to put too much in because then the whole thing will become a bit too liquid. So it's pretty much dry, eh? It's quite dry, Dan.
It's got a last little bit of liquid.
Okay, just turn the heat on and just boil off that liquid. And then pour it onto a tray so we can cool the whole thing down as quickly as we can.
Oh. Okay, so there we go. I'm ready, Luke, ready to cool that off.
Yeah, lovely jubbly.
Okay, so duxelle is done. I've then got some fillet, and your instructions are quite clear, and that was just to simply sear it and then get it straight in the fridge. Was that all I needed to do?
Exactly right, but what we're doing today is we're making little individual ones. You could take a whole fillet now, and you could spread the duxelle on it, wrap it in pancetta, and then wrap the whole thing in puff pastry, and turn it into like a family roast. But what we're doing is we've got approximately 120 to 150 gram pieces of fillet, and we're doing like one special one each.
Let me grab the ones I prepared earlier.
There you go, eh? Sounds like Blue Peter.
So there we go, 2 perfect little medallions of fillet, all done and ready.
Puff pastry. How thick is your puff pastry, Dan?
So there we go. It's probably about 3-4 millimeters thick.
Okay, let's give it a little roll. Slightly thin it out. You don't want it to be too thin because it will just go straight through. And what we're effectively doing here is we're making a little belt for the beef. Next, what you're going to do is you're going to take your pancetta that's been thinly sliced. You're going to lay that down on top of the beef, and put another slice over the top of that. So you're creating a little belt out of pancetta. If you don't eat pork or you can't eat pork, you can do this just as well without. Some people use pancakes to insulate.
Right, just the one layer?
Just the one layer. Can you see mine? Does yours look a bit like this?
Mine looks much better.
Next, you get your duxelle, make it into a little line that runs the diameter of the pastry and the pancetta. Right, then you put your meat, your little piece of fillet in the middle.
Okay.
Just lift your pancetta up to join the beef. Then you make a little roll. Just imagine you're rolling a giant cigarette, Dan.
And Danad Lamini Zuma will not be watching this episode.
Exactly. We won't be passing this one around, that's for sure. Right.
Okay.
Then we're going to have to work a bit quickly now because my paste is starting to melt. I'm going to use the egg wash as a glue. And then I'm going to roll. I'm going to use the paper that the paste is on, and I'm going to make a little roll. Or sol, as it's known as.
Gluing away.
My paste is sticking.
Oh, it's all right. You're in your early days, Luke. You'll get used to this with a bit of experience.
I'm showing my true colours then. Right, I'm going to egg wash that. That's a pure egg yolk. I'm going to put that on a tray, and I'm going to put that in the oven for 12 to 18 minutes.
All right. I'm getting very few points for aesthetics, but I'm hoping functional work out. So there I've got 2 beef Wellingtons or versions thereof.
They look great, Dan. They look so good, man.
Well, let me pop them in, and away we go. Okay, so Luke, my Wellingtons are in the oven. How long have I got them in for?
12 to 18 minutes, depending on how well done you like them. 12 minutes is quite rare. 18 minutes is kind of medium to medium well. And then what you need to do is as they come out of the oven, if they're not brown, then just flick your oven onto a light grill setting. So you just colour up that pastry at the end, you know.
My mouth is watering already, but I have 18 minutes until I can eat them. Pass some time with a couple of other food-related questions. And what I've been wanting to ask you in particular about lockdown, when I come to the test kitchen, the dishes are extraordinary, the food is incredible, the imagination is just, it blows your mind. I imagine though the Luke Dale Roberts household, and you get home to make dinner for the kids, and they're groaning, Dad, do we have to have seared langoustines with truffled risotto for dinner again? Can't we just have a pizza? What do you guys normally eat in the evenings?
We eat simple food. To be honest with you, like either, particularly in lockdown, I've been cooking a bit more, but usually Sandaline cooks, and she makes a mean bolognese. She makes an amazing shepherd's pie. She's like, she just makes good, honest family food, you know, and then sometimes I'll sneak a bit of Wagyu beef out or a couple of crayfish tails, and I'll just steal the show at the end of the week.
Well, what's your ultimate comfort dish? You're sitting at the week, the restaurants are closed, life is just feeling a little bit all too much. What's your go-to dish to lift your spirits?
I think, to be honest with you, I love a good spaghetti bolognese. Like, there's nothing that can beat it, with lots of like grated fresh parmesan on there and some mature cheddar as well. And then we always use lamb mince when we cook at home. We find it's more delicious.
And it has to be, I always reckon a good spaghetti bolognese, there has to be a luminous orange colour to the cheese as it melts over.
I'm not sure about that. I'm going to have to disagree on that one.
I think that's throwing back to my childhood in rural Zimbabwe. Right, well, the food is in the oven. I'm going to go and try another sip of that brandy, and let's bring it out of the oven in just a moment.
Beautiful.
Okay, we've had a little break. Luke has had his foot massage, and I've been keeping a close eye, rather nervously, because this is my big chance to impress Luke and get a job in the Luke Dale Roberts empire, running his Johannesburg branch. I'm going to bring out my Wellington, Mr. Dale Roberts, and see if it meets with your approval.
Good stuff. Can't wait, mate.
Ta-da!
The great reveal. They look amazing.
Oh.
I'm worried they might look even better than mine.
They do have the look of a slightly hurriedly made, somewhat chunky cottage industry sausage roll.
Real and rustic. It's good for lockdown.
So I have one last trick up my sleeve, because really this is just a completely unsolicited audition to come and work for you. So to try and pretend that I have some sort of culinary credibility, I'm going to cut open my beef Wellington. But to cut it open, I used one of these with Jenny Morris. This is my other one. This was purchased on Kitchen Street in Tokyo when I was there last year.
Beautiful.
There we go.
Oh, that's lovely, eh?
So you're obviously the expert. So Luke, if you can just read out the name of that brand to everybody on my knife.
Even if I had my glasses on, I wouldn't be able to read that, eh? Should say Konnichiwa or something like that.
It's actually from the Tsubaya brand. And yeah, it's a ferocious little number. As good in the kitchen as it would be in a murder mystery.
Exactly right.
Now, I want to plunge straight into this because it's looking fabulous. But I'm always wary about resting. I know a normal steak I need to rest. Beef Wellington, does it also need a bit of resting time?
Definitely. It needs a good like 5 minutes resting in its little bed.
All right. So I've given it 3 so far. I shall give it a...
Could be beautiful, man. Let's go for it. Is yours kind of medium rare? Medium to medium rare?
Mine is very much on the rare side, which I'm happy with because that's how I like my meat. Scoop it up. So there we go, chefs.
Oh, that looks fantastic. And then, like I said, if you've got any of that duxelle left, just add a little bit of cream, some Worcester sauce, give it a little boil, and then just pour it over the whole thing.
Well, that is going to make for a really, really good dinner this evening. And it's something I love about every dish we've done on Kitchen Closed. I said at the start that I was terrified. I wasn't terrified, but I was a little nervous because Del Roberts is not known for the type of dishes that everybody can just knock up in 3 minutes at home with a can opener and a whisk. But what you've given me here is an exceptional dish, but it's one that is really, really accessible. This was not a difficult dish to make.
No, it's not hard, eh? And you know what? Another thing you can do is you can actually cook the pastry on a rack, you know, like a cooling rack. That's quite a nice way of getting it evenly golden all the way around. But to be honest with you, I quite like puff pastry if it's a little bit stodgy sometimes, especially with a good sauce.
Well, I've got the sauce, I've got the pastry, but fillet is done perfectly for me. I might need to do another one for my wife that took a little bit longer, but at least I now have the method of doing it sorted, which I'm really excited about. Before I let you go and get back to packing those hampers and keeping your staff ticking over, you mentioned the Haven you're doing some great work for at the moment. We know that we can get online at lukedelroberts.com and come and buy some of those hampers. Any other small businesses, any other spaces that you think we can look out for and maybe lend some support to, Luke?
So we're doing the deli, which will be on the lukedelroberts.com site. So that's build your own box, basically. And then this Friday we're going to be launching the Potluck Club Home. So you can order all your favorite potluck dishes. They'll be delivered to you by one of our waiters or waitresses. They'll add a little bit of flair to the service side of things, and you can, you know, I think we're trying to bring as much of the brand to people's homes as we can at the moment.
And we do that to keep us going until we can get back into your restaurants. Much as I'd love to, I won't ask you when the test kitchen is opening because I know it's an impossible question. But I will tell you that queue of hundreds outside the door when it does, I'll be amongst them and I'll be reminding everybody in that queue that I once cooked with Luke Del Roberts.
Brilliant. Looking forward to having you there.
So there we go. He is a magician in the kitchen. He's also just an absolutely lovely guy, working so hard to keep his staff employed, to keep his businesses going, and make some pretty good food along the way. Look out for those luxury hampers, look out for the deli, and look out for more episodes of Kitchen Closed. We'll be back again with another fantastic South African chef next week. Goodbye.